Hey, welcome to 4 Secrets of How to Host a Great Retreat. Welcome back to Noviland. It's another beautiful day in paradise. Today I wanted to do a video specifically about hosting your retreat and what are 4 of the main things to consider when you're hosting your retreat. And this is pretty easy if you ever hosted a party, a retreat, a weekend. This is nothing, these aren't deep secrets or anything, but things to really consider when you're hosting your retreat or your weekend that you need to write down first and understand as you're trying to figure out. Maybe you thought, hey, I want to have people over for the weekend. I want to host a retreat. I want to do this. Where do I start? What do I even have to think about? There's a lot you might have to think about. There really could be. The first thing you really want to focus on, number one, is where you're going to host your retreat. Now, you have a few different options, of course. You could choose a hotel or a resort. Many hotels will help you host these retreats. They have a lot of options. They may have catering built in. They may have separate rooms. Certainly, they would have a lot of amenities on site, specific pricing based on the rooms, and that might be something to consider, especially when you're just starting off. Also, Airbnb or Verbo or something else. Maybe you want to rent a cabin in the woods or something a little more secluded or a little more private than a big hotel where there may be other guests. You really want to create that environment. What is the environment you're going to be creating? That may have a big impact. And of course, you might also want to use your own home depending on where you live. Now, if you're living in a little apartment or a small place, or there's a lot of other people there, it's probably not going to be the best place to host a retreat. But if you have your own home, or if you live in a nice area that's relatively secluded, that's also something to consider. So the first thing is, where do you want to host your retreat? And there's a second video I'm probably going to make on picking your theme, and that's going to be prevalent in all 4 of these items that I'm going to talk about today, because the theme really is going to impact where you're going to host your retreat and everything. It really matters. Uh, for instance, if you're doing an all business, strictly business retreat, you're probably not going to want to have it out in the woods in nature. Whereas if you're doing something more relaxing and meditation, you might not want to have it in a high rise, if I could speak. You may not want to have that in a high rise or strictly office or business environment. You may want to look for something a little more relaxing. So these are things to consider. The second thing, number two, is the food. What are you feeding these people? Are you having a retreat for 2, 3 days? People want to eat. You can't just have people, well, you could, but generally, if you're hosting a retreat, you're creating an entire theme. You're creating an environment for these people for a weekend or a longer period of time, depending on how long your retreat is. That's going to include the food. What are they putting in their system? If you're That largely depends on who you're going to have, and we'll get to that too. But the food is really, you want to consider the quality. You want quality food. You don't want to serve people McDonald's for 4 days. If you love McDonald's, that's nice. But if I go to a retreat, I want to eat something either a little more quality or something unique, depending on maybe the location that it's in. Um, Maybe the person who's throwing it has their own unique flavor. Perhaps you're going to get catering. Are you going to, if you have 10 people and they're there for 3 or 4 days, that's a lot of meals. Are you going to cook all the meals yourself? Are you going to provide food? Are you going to have them cook food for themselves? Or are you going to have a caterer? It depends on what level. And for each level you go higher, you have to consider that in the ticket price, of course, that you're going to be charging people. What are your costs for the food? The food and the place you're going to have it, number one and two, those are probably your biggest costs. Uh, you really need to consider those two things in creating what the ticket price is for your retreat. A number three is the entertainment or training. And that kind of goes back to the theme. If you're having, say, a yoga retreat or something, or a meditation retreat, that's great. Um, but you might not want a rock and roll band there at night. Or if you have more specific training, some of the retreats I do are for the Global Information Network, and they have some specific training that's suited for that club that talks about mindfulness, law of attraction, those sort of things. And so we'll do some meditation with it. We'll have campfires at night. Um, Maybe if someone's playing guitar, people bring their own individual talents and add to the group. And there's some things like that. But you really have to consider, what are these people doing? Oh, I'm having a retreat and I'm having like 3 or 4 hours of training during the day, or I'm doing yoga for a few hours or meditation. What about the rest of the day? Well, we have meals. Well, what are they going to do at night? Are they just going to go their own way, do their own thing? You should really consider every step of the day from morning till night what you're going to do, how you're going to keep these people engaged. Are you going to have them focus? You want to create a group atmosphere. You want these people not only to feel welcome in your retreat, to feel like they're part of something that they can't get at home, but they want to connect not only with you, but with each other, and really have an adventure, an environment for the days of your retreat that's unique, that speaks to what you're trying to create, what you want them to experience. And so whatever entertainment you have should be synchronous with that theme. The fourth thing, and maybe the most important thing, is the people. What kind of people are you having at your retreat? If you're having a yoga retreat for 4 days, well, you need people who are into yoga or into meditation. If you're having a meditation retreat, I don't host a yoga retreat because if I get down on the floor, it's going to take the whole team to get me back up. So that's probably not going to be my thing, is to have a yoga retreat for 4 days. However, I do love meditation. I do love mindfulness, and we focus on a lot of techniques. We do a lot of energy work. There's campfires, and there's a lot of connection. The theme of mine is typically connection and creating a mastermind among like-minded people. And so I host mine within the club of the Global Information Network because I know I'm going to get like-minded people, or people who are into more or less the same things that I'm into, that I'm trying to create of that environment. Now, if I do something that's out of the club, I have to consider, what kind of people am I going to have? If I In the old days, I would go to van events with people with custom vans, and that was a lot of fun too. Well, I don't invite those people to my retreats because they would be bored. That's not what they want to do. They want to do something more in line with the custom vanning, which is a bit more of a party. People having a vans, they're camping out in nature, they're having fun outside. There's still some of the same themes of connecting with each other, seeing people who are like-minded, and those are some common themes you're going to have throughout your retreats. But that's a completely different thing. So if I had a van retreat at my place or somewhere else for a weekend, that's the kind of people who I would want. But I wouldn't invite the people in the Global Information Network to that, because that's not their thing either. So I have to really consider what kind of people. And so you don't want to necessarily invite everybody you know, because you might have friends from different groups, or even family who is just not into the same thing. They may not be like-minded. And then you might have some, not conflict, but you're going to have some different opinions, and it's going to be harder to connect with people. You want to consider the people you're going to have are going to want to have some basic things in common. They're there for the same reason. They're there for a common goal, and you want that. You want people who are there for a common goal or for common reasons. They're there to achieve something. They're going to have a great time with you. They're going to have a great time experience the environment that you're creating with the food and the entertainment at this beautiful place. And so those are the four things you really want to consider when you're hosting this retreat: the people, the place, the entertainment, and the food. And I can't stress enough the food, because any one of these things, you could have a great retreat, you can do everything right. And if you serve people the wrong food, you're not going to see them for 4 days. They're going to be somewhere else, or they're not going to feel good. And so it's something to consider with that. Um, is maybe you want quality food. You want something a little bit for everybody, but you can't obviously satisfy everybody. You want to try to do something for everybody. The place, you want to make sure everybody's comfortable by day, has a place that they can be comfortable by night. They have a place where they could lay their heads down and feel safe, feel comfortable, and be in an environment they enjoy. The entertainment and the theme, you want something that's going to grab people, that they're going to be like, yeah, I'm really glad I did that. I don't do that at home. I know that exists. I guess we can kind of figure out how to do that maybe, but we just don't do that kind of thing. And to have everybody there meditating in a group, working on the same energy techniques, or whatever it is you're doing, that could be very powerful. And that's just not something most people do in their everyday lives. And of course, connecting with people that you wouldn't see in your everyday life, people that are new, that could become your best friend down the road, or just people who are like, I'm really happy I met that person. You never know who you're going to connect with in an environment at a retreat that might have 5, 10, 20 people. Some retreats are bigger, some retreats could have 50 or 100 people. Mine are generally small. Also, something to consider, the size of the retreat. Are you really having these big retreats? Are you having small retreats? If you're having something bigger, are you doing it by yourself? Do you have help? If you have to do everything by yourself, you're probably not ready to host a retreat with 100 people if you're not really familiar with doing that. For your first retreat, I would keep it a little bit on the smaller side. Well, I hope this helps. There's more videos coming forward with more information on how to host your best retreat. This is Joshua Novi from Noviland. It's another beautiful day in paradise. I love you. I miss you. I wish you were here. And the best is yet to come.